decrepit buildings, leaky pipes, dirt, lots of dust, probably. Maybe not the soundest of architecture, maybe? I mean, you know, maybe it was sound at one point, but not anymore. Abandoned just means that nobody's living in it now. Or, yeah, that's what it means. Nobody's taking care of it.
What comes to mind to me when it comes to an abandoned place, I think about an old warehouse. I'd think about scenes you see across developed countries these days of old factories with the huge chimneys, and suddenly they're all gone. Just brick pieces with graffiti everywhere. You see it in Baltimore a lot, especially go toward East Baltimore. It's all these houses that are like boarded up, blocks all over the place, empty slots of land where there used to be houses. So when it comes to abandoned things, that's what I think of.
The one time I have gone to an abandoned place was when it was just like, when it was so old, you could barely call it a building anymore.
It's as if it were inhabited, and then it had just been, no one showed up to work, and all of the patients were gone, and it had been left the exact same.
They just become unneeded. Sometimes personal tragedy to the owners or people within.
It's got to be like funding, right? Government funding, or like economic downturns, or just like the business wasn't profitable or it couldn't be run anymore, something like that.
I think it's really that at least the big institutions, you think about how they cannot afford the upkeep. You think about how maybe the building was designed to when, the way we thought we had to react to certain things was, the right way. Think about, insane asylums, for example. Like, beforehand they're designed for them to look more like prisons. Now they're designed to look a bit more like hospitals and help people out. So, maybe that design was left behind. There is that sense of, buildings crumbling down. It's maybe more affordable to let it be than absolutely destroy it and make something else there. It really is a sacrifice.
Should they be educated about abandoned structures? That's an interesting question. I suppose that my feeling about that is yes, they should be educated because of the potential dangers that are associated with decrepit buildings that are falling apart, right? Like, the dangers of, buildings whose roofs can cave in on you, and like the asbestos. So they should be educated about the risk and the dangers there.
Considering how much I don't know about them, which I assume is much more than I do, I think a mild education would be good to be put in place.
But a lot of places that are abandoned definitely deserve to be learned about, and people need to be educated about them, because there's a lot of important things that are lost, and maybe not even important, but interesting and useful, just good stuff to know.
I think for the sake of preservation, if you can make it a tourist attraction, that's not bad. Plus it generates funds on the side and helps the community, so I wouldn't be against that.
Yeah, I think it would be a really good idea. Cincinnati makes a ton of money and they're booked out for the next few years on the abandoned subway system. And also they have abandoned building tours. They don't let you go in, you just go outside and look at it, and they still make a ton of money just because people are really interested.
It's really cool. It's a good way to reuse the space, and it doesn't, it's as long as you're just paying for upkeep and not total renovation and repair, it's cheaper, and it can also make money for a state or places like that, just whoever owns the property, I suppose. But it's a good idea. It minimizes actual construction. It encourages learning about what it was and its history, and also it's a good economic opportunity as well. So
I feel like that's for people who go on bus tours and cruises and stuff. I don't know,
You are making something interesting and useful out of it, and you're bringing out a different side of the culture of a city or a town that you won't usually have, and these spaces usually have a lot of history. So if you're giving that history back to the people and educating them upon the space that you're standing on right now versus keeping it completely closed off and just those who dare to come in and spray paint or take drugs to be the only ones who take it in. It's not that efficient. So I think the idea of creating tour sites of old factories, well, of course that makes a lot of sense.
I mean, the buildings are sitting there and they're not doing anything, and they're not purposed for anything. So I suppose to allow people to go and check it out would be okay. But I don't really feel any particular way about it. I think that if people really want the experience of going to an abandoned facility, that they could start with that, but that it wouldn't give them the full effect